Let's continue with this bizarre story, this movie that seemingly has sequels. With the escape from prison of the convicted rapist and murderer, the spotlight has now moved to whether the government can keep people in the country safe from criminals. What is the government doing wrong, especially if they're failing to keep prisoners behind bars? To unpack this further, I am joined by a security expert at the Tshwane University of Technology, Professor Jacob Mofokeng. Mr. Mofokeng, thank you very much, Prof, for your time here on All Angles. Just first of all, the recent update we got from Thabo Bester, who kept on raising his hand to try and address the court. Of course, he was not allowed to say that he's not even eating the food that he is being offered. So clearly, he is of the belief that whoever assisted him is around him and will try to kill him.
Good afternoon, Masefo, and afternoon to the ENCA viewers. Yes, it just shows that he is very conscious of his rights, and he demands whatever that he feels that it is supposed to be due to him based on the human rights. One can really indicate that since the democratic dispensation in South Africa, we are really confronted with challenges of whether can we be able to balance the rights, of everyone, in South Africa, as well as the rule of law. When you look at the National Development Plan, the government of the day, commissioned certain individuals to come up with this particular wonderful document, that was adopted by 2012, of which it puts, 5 pillars, amongst which, is to strengthen the criminal justice system, creating a professional police service, demilitarizing the police, use of integrated, approach to safety, as well as build community participation, in community safety. And 7 years from now, we still need to realize whether people can walk, women can walk safely in South Africa without any fear. But what has really evolved in South Africa, it's a perception that, and it raised a lot of issues, whether are we a failing state or a failed state, or is it only the government that is failing to protect the citizens, considering what the NDP indicated and what is really unfolding with the case of Thabo Bester. It shows that the government is still far from realizing what it has said, towards creating a safer and, a safer environment in South Africa. So we see cases of gender-based violent crime, and now Mr. Bester now feels that, he deserves a particular treatment, and of which we have seen that the reports indicate that in his cell, there were, things that were not supposed to be there, the laptop, the cell phone, probably he was even watching television. That shows the extent of which we have fallen short of balancing the rights of those that are in custody, as well as the rights of citizens of South Africa. We are having a government that is failing the people of South Africa.
But also, I think, without obviously casting any persecution against Dr. Nandipha Magudumana, a lot of people would also obviously question why she would end up embroiled in something like this, especially somebody of her stature in society, somebody who was a doctor, a very well-known one, etc. But, I think for a lot of people, it's also the scary thing of a female being involved in the escape of somebody who raped and killed females.
Yes, it is always about that. When we come to the issues of matters of the heart, there are no boundaries. So even people that we think that they are educated, they are so, having high profiles in life. So because of, human element, and in her case, we don't know what did Thabo Bester, did to her. Now there are allegations that, she was threatened by him. But looking also in the context of the so-called the syndrome, Stockholm syndrome, where if
Yeah.
someone spend time with another person for a longer period, there might be, blurring lines of accountability in that. But in this case, I think there was no gun that was pointed at her head to go to that extent of abating Mr. Bester from, lawful custody, considering that she was married and living that comfortable life. But she decided, to come and journey with this particular criminal, considering, the scourge of gender-based violence, violence in South Africa, and all kinds of, things that indicate that indeed people are now living in fear. And for the fact that even Thabo Bester as well as Dr. Nandipa remain around, in Gauteng, it just indicates that, the criminal justice system still needs really to be reformed to such an extent that there is integrated, and then civil society is also part of what is happening.
Yeah, but what does this mean then, Prof, in terms of the safety, let alone the safety of the people that he was convicted of raping, the victims, in terms of the family of the women that he murdered, them not being alerted that this person is out, the fact that there were emails sent in October, but, a task team only dispersed in March, etc. What does this say overall about our government and its ability to keep us safe as South Africans?
It shows a lack of accountability from the government. If you follow the portfolio committee briefings as well as what has been submitted, it's always a passing of the buck. That Mr. Lamola will always say, well, it is the responsibility of the Minister of the Police or the Police Commissioner. So not really taking accountability, and for that fact that the victims of these families and also the victims themselves that are still alive, it just shows that they are not safe. It shows that the government cannot really, actually, it doesn't care, about their well-being. And it also, look at examples of how, whistleblowers have been terrorized and how they have been frustrated in South Africa. Look at the issue of state capture. It points to one factor that, the state or the government is really failing, the citizen of South Africa. So we will be allocated with budget for certain state machinery to be able to function, but at the end of financial year, the Treasury will take back the money that has been allocated to certain departments. And then it shows that, really we are failing those that were supposed to be vulnerable and looked after. So
absolutely failing.
Absolutely failing.
Absolutely a failure. And now it's, taxpayers' money that has to now deal with all of this. Thank you very much for your expertise. That was security expert at the Tshwane University of Technology, Professor Jacob Mofokeng.